And today we have invited some guests to talk about what an open society means to Zimbabwe. While our two countries are geographically apart, we are quite similar when it comes to population and size, and the historical ties are definitely there. We have organized this forum to listen and to discuss and to learn about what the issues are that the Zimbabwean society will have to address. And by that I want to welcome all of you. Swedes like to travel, call us a globetrotter, and we will be flattered. We take it for granted that British Airways, Lufthansa or the Emirates can take us to all parts of the world, provided of course that we can pay for the ticket. We fancy Thai cuisine, and Mexican tacos have become staple food on Friday evenings. You will find pizza, kebab in the most remote places in Sweden.
Zimbabwe is both open and closed. So in the case of Zimbabwe, it's open. You are importing twice as much as you export. Therefore, you're open. People can come and sell here. Isn't it? People can come and sell. You are exporting you're importing $1.7 billion of goods per quarter, and you're exporting half that. So you're open to the outside world to import to this country. You're also open. 1/4 of your people is outside this country. The world is open to receive you. So in that respect, Zimbabwe is open. But you are closed. You are closed in the sense that you can only export half of what you import. That means there are regulations, there are processes that imprison your producers. So they remain closed in the economy.
The post-colonial period also produces new spaces, new political spaces, the vote, new democratic spaces. But we also see continuities with the colonial state. We see closure around the media. We see closure around political possibilities. And therefore, the idea of a post-colonial state includes the legacies of the repression that we came out of. And the challenge here for me is to rethink what the post-colonial state means, to get beyond the limitations that we have seen so far, the limitations around who defines what the options are, who defines what being a Zimbabwean is, who defines the national discourse of inclusion. And Zimbabwe is a very sad state of one where those closures about inclusion, about options, have become increasingly apparent. And I think that it is something that has affected not only the state itself, but also those who have emerged in opposition. I think the opposition has also opened new questions, but finds itself in new closures as well, as it faces real constraints. That the question of open and close always works in relation to one another. And it's never one or the other completely. And that this dialectic is what you have to battle with on a continual basis.
The infrastructure around us, the architecture of our economy is such that we are still operating as if we are not in a global market. Our laws have not woken up to that reality that we are operating in. And these areas are the ones that are contributing to the difficulty in terms of doing business. You have some few manufacturers left who are grappling with labor laws that are not alive to the current circumstances that we are operating in.
I think, and I could be wrong, that the internet is the freest space we have in Zimbabwe. I think we need to tap into that. We need bankers to support play on the internet like us, and there's a few of us. I think it's important to engage people, especially the rural people, and I think this is where we're trying to go. I keep thinking of my aunt; she's our inspiration. How do we get my aunt involved in the conversation? How do we get? She's a woman. She lives in the rural areas, so that's what 52% of the population are women. 67% of the population live in the rural areas. How do we get there?
I don't think the problem is so much the ability to say what you think or feel in Zimbabwe. It's about what happens after you think the things you think. So even when you think your thoughts are private, right? Because of the extreme surveillance, fear, paranoia, gossip, command and control structures of our society, your private thoughts no longer become private.